After my promotion, my brother-in-law spread a lie that I slept with my boss. My husband said it was just a joke. At the family barbecue, I plugged in a USB drive and played the office camera footage that silenced everyone because I've never written anything like this before, but I need to get it out. This happened recently, and I'm still shaking from it. I'm 39, live in Sacramento, married to Evan, 42, for 12 years. We don't have kids, by choice. I've worked in property management since I was in my 20s, started as a leasing agent, and worked my ass off to climb up. No shortcuts. No favors. No handouts. Just years of unpaid overtime, dealing with miserable tenants, fixing problems at all hours, and swallowing my pride more times than I can count. In April, I got promoted to regional manager. It's a big deal. I manage 5 properties now, and I'm the only woman on the leadership team. I was proud. I wanted my family to be proud. At first, Evan was happy for me. He bought me flowers. We went out to dinner. But that feeling didn't last long. The whispers started maybe 2 weeks later. My coworker, Jen, she's not just a coworker, she's my friend, sent me a screenshot from her phone. It was a message from my brother-in-law, Derek. He asked her, "So, did your girl really sleep her way to the top?" He even put a laughing emoji after it, like it was hilarious. Jen was furious. She blocked him. I was stunned. I hadn't spoken to Derek in weeks. He had zero connection to my work. He's Evan's younger brother, 35, still living with their mom, working off and on as a mechanic. He's always been kind of a clown. Loud, inappropriate, always making people uncomfortable as a joke. But this was different. Over the next few days, I got more texts. A friend from high school messaged me saying someone told her Derek was saying I had an arrangement with my boss, Harold. For the record, Harold is 62, married, smells like menthol cough drops, and reminds me of a cartoon walrus. The idea of that man touching me made me sick. But Derek was telling anyone who'd listen that I'd gotten on my knees to get the job. The final straw came when my cousin Amanda, who works in real estate, asked me point blank if I'd been involved with Harold. I asked where she heard that. She said Derek mentioned it at a party. I felt like my head was going to explode. I went home and confronted Evan. We were on the back porch. I laid out everything: Jen's screenshot, Amanda's comment, the messages I'd been getting. I expected him to be furious, to call Derek and rip him a new one. Instead, Evan just sipped his beer and said, "Derek's an idiot, babe. He jokes. Don't take it so seriously." I stared at him, trying to figure out if he was messing with me. He's telling people I slept with my boss. That's not a joke. He doesn't mean it. He's probably just jealous or trying to get attention. So you're okay with him dragging my name through the mud? Making me look like I slept my way to a promotion? He just shook his head and said, "You're blowing it out of proportion. It'll pass." I didn't say another word. I slept in the guest room that night. The worst part was, he never asked Derek to stop. Never told him off. He just brushed it off. Like my career, my name, my dignity didn't matter. And that broke something in me. Not all at once, but slowly. I started pulling back. I skipped Sunday dinner at his mom's. I ignored Derek's texts. I felt sick being in the same room with Evan. Every time he brought up his family, I wanted to scream. Memorial Day weekend came. The big barbecue at Evan's mom's place. He begged me to come. Said everyone will be there and don't make it awkward. I told him I'd come, but he had to trust me if things got uncomfortable. He agreed too easily. What he didn't know was that I had something planned. You see, when I got promoted, I got access to the office camera system. I reviewed security footage after Derek claimed I was in Harold's office one specific weekend. I wasn't. I was on site at a property in Elk Grove, over an hour away. I had the footage, time-stamped with audio. But I also found something else. From a month earlier, Derek had stopped by the office unannounced. Said he was in the area. He hung out for 15 minutes in the break room. I didn't think anything of it at the time. The camera caught him talking to someone else, another employee, and saying, I bet my sister-in-law is getting promoted because she's giving old Harold some of that good. You seen her around him? The other guy didn't laugh. He just said, "Dude, what the hell?" I downloaded both clips onto a USB. At the barbecue, while the ribs were grilling and the cousins were playing cornhole, I waited. I waited until everyone was on the patio, plates full, beers in hand. I walked into the living room where the TV was and called out, "Hey Derek, can you help me with something real quick?" He followed me in, grinning like a damn fool. "What's up? Can you plug this into the TV?" I handed him the USB. "Sure," he said, still smiling. Then I grabbed the remote and hit play. The first clip played. Me on camera entering and leaving the Elk Grove property during the exact time Derek said I was with Harold. The second clip started, Derek, on video, saying I slept with my boss to a coworker. I walked back out to the patio. The sound from the living room carried outside. Everyone heard it. It got quiet fast. And for the first time in months, I felt calm. The silence at that barbecue was unlike anything I've ever felt. Derek didn't come out of the house right away. Everyone heard the footage. The timestamps, the audio, his disgusting little smirk as he accused me of sleeping with Harold. He came out a few minutes later, pale and shaky. You could tell he didn't expect it. He thought I'd just keep my head down and take it like I always had. He tried to laugh it off at first. "Damn, you really went digging for that? That's some CIA-level pettiness," he said, looking around the patio like he was waiting for someone to laugh with him. No one did. Evan just stood there, frozen, like he didn't know whose side he was supposed to be on. Their mom, Darlene, stepped in. Of course she did. She always does when Derek screws up. "All right, that's enough," she said loudly, her voice trying to sound firm but shaking. "This is a family gathering. We're not going to air dirty laundry." I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Your son told people I slept with my boss. My husband did nothing. This is the only way I could make them both listen." Derek muttered something under his breath, but I didn't care. I was done listening to him. What got me, though, was what happened afterward. We left the barbecue early. Evan drove. The silence in the car was deafening until we were about halfway home, and he said, "You humiliated my whole family today." I turned to him. "Your brother told lies about me that could have ruined my career. You said it was a joke. You protected him." "I didn't think you'd blow it up like that," he said, voice cold. That was cruel. That's when I realized something. Evan wasn't just indifferent, he resented me. The promotion, the authority, the fact that I made more money now. He'd always been the main earner before. Now I paid most of the bills. He didn't like how things shifted, and Derek's rumor was just the thing he let ride to bring me down a peg. I didn't say another word the rest of the drive. Over the next week, it got worse. Evan started sleeping on the couch. He said he needed space. We barely spoke. He started staying out later, claiming he was just clearing his head, but his phone was always locked and he kept it face down every time he came home. Then one night, he left it in the bathroom by mistake. And I looked. There were messages. Between him and Derek. Messages that started months ago. "Just wait. She's gonna trip when she hears this," Derek had texted. "She won't see it coming," Evan replied. "I'll say it came from her job. That way it's not traced back. I'll deny everything. Just play it dumb." My chest tightened. My throat dried out. Evan hadn't just failed to defend me. He helped plant the lie. They worked together to undermine me, my husband and his brother. Because they couldn't handle a woman doing better than them. Because they wanted me humiliated. Because I had something they didn't: respect, ambition, a future. That's when something inside me broke. And something else started to form. Not just anger. Not just sadness. A plan. After reading those messages, I sat on the cold tile floor of our bathroom for at least an hour, holding his phone, shaking. I felt sick. Not just because of what they said, but because I had loved this man for over a decade. I trusted him with everything. And now I saw what I was really married to. He didn't just stand by while his brother lied, he helped him. He set me up. Over the next few days, I didn't say anything. I acted normal. I even started being friendlier again, cooking dinner, asking about his day. He thought things were settling down. I played along. Because I needed time. I needed to gather everything. What Evan didn't know was that I started making copies, bank statements, text screenshots, emails, even our house deed. I met with a lawyer. Quietly. She was sharp and didn't flinch when I showed her the texts between Evan and Derek. She told me what I needed to prepare. She also said something that stuck. You have more power than you think. He just made you forget it. Then came the second twist. One day at work, my boss Harold called me into his office. I assumed it was about a new property acquisition, but instead, he looked uncomfortable. He handed me a manila folder and said, "This was sent anonymously to HR." Inside were screenshots, ones I recognized, my emails, my calendar, even a few private Slack messages I'd sent venting about management. Stuff no one should have access to. Except someone who lived with me. Someone like Evan. The HR manager said they couldn't prove where the material came from, but they were investigating. It didn't take me long to put it together. Evan had access to my home office computer. He knew my passwords. He must have sent that crap to try to make it look like I was unprofessional or mishandling confidential info. It wasn't just about the rumor anymore. Evan was trying to sabotage me at work. While living under my roof. Sleeping in my house. Eating my food. Using my Wi-Fi to destroy me. That night, I walked into the kitchen and asked him directly, "Did you send anything to my job?" He didn't even look up from his phone. "What are you talking about?" "Someone emailed HR documents from my computer." He shrugged. "Maybe your boyfriend Harold is setting you up." I nodded. Got it. I didn't say another word. I just smiled. Because I knew what I was going to do next. I waited exactly 1 week after that conversation. During that time, I played my role, quiet, calm, just going through the motions. I needed him to stay relaxed, to think I was done fighting. Meanwhile, I had 2 separate meetings, one with HR to clear my name and provide proof Evan had access to my accounts, and another with a private investigator I hired off a referral from my attorney. He specialized in digital forensics. I gave him Evan's full name, email addresses, phone numbers, and a copy of the messages I'd found. He didn't need much more. 3 days later, the investigator came back with a bombshell. Evan wasn't just behind the anonymous HR email. He'd also created 2 fake Reddit accounts and posted stories about me. One of them described me as an overpaid office slut who throws her weight around. Another made me out to be abusive, gaslighting him at home and threatening his brother's job, which Derek didn't even have. It was character assassination. Slowly, carefully, over months. A smear campaign. Public and private, meant to destroy my credibility, hurt my reputation, and maybe even get me fired. I stared at the report the PI gave me. Each entry was tied to an IP address, the one registered to our home router. Same with the email to HR. It was all traceable. He hadn't even tried to cover his tracks. He thought I'd never look. That weekend, I went to see Darlene, Evan and Derek's mom. I brought coffee, sat at her kitchen table, and I told her everything. I showed her the documents, the fake posts, the texts. She went pale, then red, then quiet. "I didn't raise them to be like this," she whispered. I said nothing, just let the silence hang. I wanted her to sit with it. I wanted her to feel it. Her precious boys, her jokesters, were grown men who orchestrated the slow destruction of someone they claimed to love. And now it was going to cost them. Evan still had no idea how far I'd gone, or what I had planned, but that was going to change soon. I waited until the Monday morning after that last weekend. Evan left for the gym like he always did, coasting on the false peace between us. I had already taken the day off. Everything was ready. I'd packed what I needed, made the appointments, filed the paperwork. This wasn't going to be a conversation, it was an extraction. First, I had the locks changed. The locksmith showed up at 9:15. By 9:45, Evan was locked out of the house he didn't help pay for and no longer had access to. He came home at 10:10, sweaty and confused, jiggling the door handle like a fool. He started banging. "What the hell, babe?" I opened the door halfway. just enough for him to see my face and the manila envelope in my hand. "You don't live here anymore," I said, calm and clear. "Here's the separation notice. The lawyer's contact info is inside. And I already froze the joint accounts." His face twisted. "Are you kidding me? You're lucky I'm not filing for a restraining order," I said.
"Yet."
He shoved the door, but I slammed it shut and locked it. I watched from the peephole as he raged for a few minutes, then stormed off. It was satisfying, but that was just the first domino. The second hit that same afternoon. My lawyer filed an official complaint with his employer. Evan worked in IT security for a private contractor. We sent over the forensics report showing his IP was tied to the fake Reddit accounts, the harassment, and the attempted leak of confidential information from my work email. Because his company handled sensitive data, this was a big deal. By Wednesday, he was suspended. By Friday, he was fired. Third domino. Derek. I sent every piece of evidence, including the break room footage, the tech screenshots, and a full report to his probation officer. Turns out, Derek was still on probation for a DUI and had been ordered to avoid any harassment or misconduct as a condition. Making false, reputation-damaging claims about someone, especially in a workplace context, counted. He got picked up the following week. Violated probation. Went back inside for 30 days. Suddenly, no one was laughing. Darlene, their mother, tried calling me. I didn't answer. She sent a message saying, "They've lost everything. Aren't you satisfied?" But she didn't get it. It wasn't about revenge for revenge's sake. It was about survival. About standing up when no one else would. About making sure they couldn't do this to someone else. About proving that no matter how quiet you are, no matter how hard they try to twist your story, you can fight back. And I did. I'm not sure what Evan's doing now. I know he's living with a cousin and working some temp job. Last I heard, Derek was out, jobless, and blaming everyone but himself.
Me?
I'm still regional manager. Still standing. Only now I know exactly who I am. And I'll never let anyone try to break me again.